Hello students, Namaste. Welcome to this new session of Python. In this session we are going to continue with the theory unit Python and data analytics, and we are currently studying uh, different case studies under data analytics. So today we are going to study one more case study, detecting unexploded mines using sonar. Now what is this? Don't worry, I will tell you. But before we go into today's topics, let us just try to revise few things that we have studied yesterday. Now, as far as data analytics is concerned, most of the times the data is there in two-dimensional form, that is in tabular form, and a table has generally multiple attributes. The attributes that are used as inputs are generally spoken of as attributes. The attributes which contain the output, they are generally spoken of as labels. Yes, the algorithm that we make has a predictive relationship between attributes and labels. Now, what are attributes and what are labels? Just let us try to understand. Yesterday I had shown you one equation, x is equal to something y plus something z. So x becomes the label, which is the outcome, or it is the dependent variable, and y and z are known as independent variables or inputs or features or predictors or attributes. Yes, we discussed yesterday the attributes can be either numeric or it can be categorical. Always it is easier to handle numeric variables compared to categorical variables. Yes, if the column is categorical, depending upon the number of values, unique values in the column, it can come under binary classification or multi-class classification. And it is always easier to convert the numeric data into categorical values. Yes, we need to ensure or collect some of the common statistics as far as the data set is concerned. Today I am going to show you a sample data set as well. Now, one thing that we learned is in the data set, say for example some missing values are there. If the number of records with missing values are less, you can remove those records, but if the number of records with missing values are more, then a process called imputation is carried out, whereby you fill up the missing values by doing averaging. Okay, fine. That was just a brief about what we had studied yesterday. Now let us try to start with something new today. Yes, we are going to study something about unexploded mines using sonar. Now, all of you might have come across the term mine and unexploded mines. At least all of you are watching movies, right? Maybe mine is something that on which if the weight is there, it will explode. Generally, it is used in wartime between different militaries. Now, what is the case study over here? Let me explain to you. Like there are land mines, that means mines which are kept on lands. There are mines which are kept underwater as well, so that if uh, whenever they encounter ships or something, then the mines will blast, thereby destroying the ships or maybe for whatever object it is kept for. Now, after the war is over, what they want to do, what the military wants to do, it wants to remove the mines that it has placed for the opposite nation, otherwise it is also going to get destroyed. Now, how can it detect mines that are there underwater? Yes, it is using sonar, that is sound navigation ranging. Okay, sound navigation ranging. Basically, a technique where the sound waves are passed, and based on the way in which the sound waves are reflected back, it will determine whether under the water there was a rock or there was a mine. So, this is about identifying whether underwater a rock is there or a mine is there. Yes, because it wants to identify whether it is rock or mine. It is a categorical value. Rock is a categorical value, mine is a categorical value. Hence, the problem is known as a classification problem. The problem is known as a classification problem. If as a output, like in the previous case, we were identifying how many dollars a user is going to spend on books, then the problem over here, you can see the label is numeric. Then in this case the problem is going to be a regression problem. But again, we saw in the same example, we can convert the numerical data into categorical, and then the problem becomes a classification problem. So, what we are supposed to do, some of the common tasks that we are supposed to do as far as data analytics is concerned. Remember, data analytics basically refers to analysis of data, measurement of size and shape. That is basically we are trying to count the number of rows and columns, reporting data types, that is what is the data type of each column, counting the missing values. Last time we discussed, if the number of missing values are less, there is no problem. Then statistical properties, that is interrelationship between attributes and labels. Last time we formed some algorithm, so is something like that possible? Visualization using graphs. The data that we have, can we visualize it using graphs? So, these are some of the common things, common tasks which we need to perform on any kind of data that we have. Now, yes, because the main problem was identifying rocks or mines underwater. So, the problem is also known as rock versus mine problem, and the data set was also known as rock versus mine. Now, what we do is, this is a data set which is available on Google, and I have already downloaded it. First, let us try to just go through the database. Now, in one of the previous sessions, we had studied CSV files. If you can observe, this is one of the CSV files where the data is all the values are basically floating point values. If you can see, there are number of records over here, almost more than 200 records, to be specific 208 records. Now, you cannot understand basically anything from this file alone. Basically, these are just values which are obtained when a sound wave is passed underwater. Now, the last column is of importance to us. Let us go to the last column. Yes, here. If you can observe this, it is R, and as we go down, we find that the values are M. In the sense, based on the numeric values of so many columns, it is identified that the object that is there underwater is rock or a mine. Now, how these things are done? For this thing, in order to complete the data analytics, we have to study something known as machine learning or artificial intelligence over here. Now, yesterday we were talking about the training set and the test set. Say for example there are 208 records. What is normally done is 80% of the records are considered for training and 20% of the data set is considered for testing. So say for example the first 160 records are included as the training data set and the remaining records are for testing. That means based on this data set is used to train, in the sense how R or M is obtained in the last column, that is studied using this data. Now we have the original data, but for the remaining set of records, that set of record is used to check whether the actual output matches with what algorithm we have built in the previous step. Don't worry, right now you will not come to know about each and every point, but as we go further you will come to know about all these points. Now where is the description of all these columns? For this we have another Word file which is there. Say for example this is the Word file which contains the description about the entire file and what methodology was used, etc., etc. Again, because it's a CSV file, comma separated values, it can be opened in Word also. Say for example, first value, comma, second value, comma, third value, comma, and so on. This entire thing is one record, and at the end of the record, as we had seen in the Excel sheet, there is either R, you can observe R, or towards the end maybe there will be M somewhere. As you go down further the records, there is M. But basically again I want to tell you or show you what is a CSV file, comma separated values. All the values are separated by comma. Yes, some of the files may contain column headings, some may not. This does not, and that is why, as you can see, this file, there is another file which contains the description. Now as far as machine learning is concerned, lot of such data sets are readily available on the net. Just let me show you the browser over here. Say for example in Google I am giving Sonar Rock versus Mind data set. Now there is a common repository. What is the meaning of a repository? Just like we have a library in the college from where the students of the college can collect the books. In the same way, there is a repository on the web which is available, from where any one of us can collect the data set. As you can observe over here, this is specifically meant for those who are interested in doing machine learning. So you can think of this as an open library where you do not have to pay anything, but using your Gmail ID you can download the data. So there are other data sets also available. If you click on view all data sets, then lot of other data sets will also be available, and we are going to use number of this data set again. Say for example Abelon, data types, multivariate, default task classification. Machine learning, there are two main tasks, classification or regression. You can observe over here it is regression. Instances, attributes, and in which year. Now if you create your own data set, you can upload it over here in this UCI machine learning repository, or you can think of it as a library. From here, this is the index and you can download the data. This is the place from where I have downloaded the data. So once again, now we go back to our presentation. Once again we repeat what is the case that we are studying. Basically we want to detect through sound waves whether under the water there is a rock or there is a mine. When the sound wave goes inside water, certain waves are reflected back with some numeric values which are recorded, and based on its values we can determine whether underwater there is a rock or there is a mine. Fine. So now we go ahead. Yes, it's a classification problem because the final output, the last column that you observed, was a categorical column with values R or M. Further, you can say that because there are only two values R and M, it can be considered as a binary classification problem. Fine. Now, for this data set, what are the basic characteristics? We observed the data. Once again, we just try to observe the data in the CSV. All are floating point values. Looking at the first glance, we cannot get any idea. But what are the basic things? At least, say for example, I go down over here, then I can come to know that okay, there are 208 records over here. If I go sideways, I can tell that there are this many columns over here. So at least the number of rows, the number of columns, and what is the data type of each column. The data type over here for each column is float, but if you observe the last column, then for that it is text. So you get some basic ideas on observing the data set. Yes, what we are supposed to do is to determine the size and shape, basically the number of rows and columns which we saw. Now, because it is comma delimited, the values are separated by comma. Try to recollect regular expression and the split method which we had studied, or the other method sub n, where we can extract basically through split or through sub n, or maybe other methods, we can extract the required data that we want. Because the files are comma delimited, also try to recollect. We have studied and we will try to do still one more example. One example where we were reading data from CSV file. So here from this CSV file also we can read data, and if possible in the next session I will show you how we can read data using the CSV file, and also I will try to show you few other things which we are going to the terms that we are going to study today. Yes, so this is what is given. We can prepare lot of summaries from the data that we have, because most of the data is in numeric form. Yes, the number of rows and columns of the data set have a major impact on how we can proceed. The data set over here, you try to think in terms of 208 records, but remember 208 records is not that much. As far as machine learning is concerned, it is considered a very small database, or a very small data set rather, not a database. Generally, when we are talking about machine learning, there needs to be large number of records. Again, next time I will try to show you records or data set where there are thousands of records. Remember, more the number of records, the better training can be done on the data set and better the output can be. This is a general concept. Yes, the number of rows and number of columns definitely impact. So the overall size give you a rough idea of how long your training times are going to be. In the sense, if the number of records are more, the training time is going to be more, but here there are only 200 records approximately, so the training size is going to be quite short. It will not be that much. Now, what is the next thing? Yes, the number of columns. The data set has many more columns than the rows. You may be more likely to get best prediction with penalized linear regression. Just one point. But the other thing that we need to determine is how many columns are numerical, how many columns are categorical. In the rock and mine data set, all the columns apart from the last column are numerical. Let us once again try to check. Last column BI is categorical, otherwise all columns till BH are numeric values. Now if you consider A to Z, that means 26 columns. Again, if you consider A to Z, that means 26 more columns, and we have 8 more columns. So 26 into 52 plus 8, 60 columns. 60 columns is not less, it is lots and lots and lots of data. And remember, the complexity increases a bit as the number of columns increase. Fine, that is just one point. Now lot of summaries can be derived from the numerical data like mean, standard deviation and so on, and based on that we can make lot of conclusions. The approach that we are going to use further as far as machine learning is concerned, whether it's a classification problem, whether it's a regression problem and so on. Yes, fortunately, if you try to observe over here, there are no missing values. Most of the cells are occupied with some values. Missing values are not there. And since missing values are not there, so the step of imputation that we had studied last time, imputation means filling up the missing values with some values. So that step is not required over here. Yes, you can do lot of summarization. Let us try to go ahead. Yes, one of the steps, as I said, is to calculate mean as well as calculate standard deviation. Basically, mean is the average of all values, standard deviation how far from the mean the values are there. This is one important characteristics. Maybe you will understand theoretically right now, but when you are trying to predict some result, if the standard deviation of data is more, that means the accuracy of the result may not be that much. One term that we are going to learn today is outliers. Now what is the meaning of outliers? It means that most of the data may be in one range, but one or two data points may have a totally different range of values. Say for example, if you try to observe this set of numbers, now in terms of Python, if you try to observe, there is a square bracket, there is a square bracket over here. That means this set of values is a list. Okay, this set of values is a list. All the values are in the range 0.1 to 0.4 up till this particular point. That means they are in one range. But the last value, if you observe, it is 4. So you can consider the range as 0 to 0.5. But when you have 4 that is not falling in the range, then this is referred to as outlier. Okay, 4 is referred to as outlier, and that is what is mentioned over here. 4 is the outlier. The value which is totally out of range, that is known as outlier. Now this outliers can be easily identified by sorting the values that are there in the column. The other way is also to plot a graph, again that we are going to see in a few minutes from now. Let us try to go ahead. Now again, See, as far as machine learning is concerned, apart from the computer algorithm that we are using in machine learning, the basic statistics is always involved. Basic statistic, what I mean by basic statistic? The statistics that you have studied in your school, mean, standard deviation, mode, median, uh, quartile, percentile, decile, all these things are always going to be involved. So, yes, if you are interested in making a career in data science, which is a very good field at this point of time, it's an emerging field, and if you go in data science, you can make lots of money. Yes, the one of the things that you should possess is you should know the basic statistics nicely. Now, what we mean by quantile plot? Quantiles are cut point dividing the range of probability distribution into continuous intervals with equal probabilities, or dividing the observation in a sample in a same way. Now, what it means, let us try to understand the diagram over here. This is the distribution of uh, the numbers in a particular database. Here we are dividing the data set into equal half part. So, probably here it is not mentioned, but it becomes Q2, that means quartile 2. This is part 1, this is part 2, this is part 3. Now, when we are dividing data into 4 parts, definitely you don't have to consider this as a separate part. So, 1, 2, 3 and we have 4. So, these are the 4 parts, and this is first quartile, this is second quartile, this is third quartile. In short, we say as Q1, Q3, Q2, Q3. Because quartile means we want to divide the data into 4 parts. So, there will be 3 lines over here. But if we want to divide the data set into 100 parts, meaning 1000 records are there, and we want to divide the data set into 100 parts, each part containing 10 records, then for that the term used is percentile. The first quartile part is known as the 25th percentile. The central value, that is median, is referred to as 50th percentile, and over here for Q3 the term that is used is 75th percentile. Percentile basically refers to dividing the data into 100 parts. So, if you want to divide the data into 10 parts, then we have the term that is decile. So, in general we can always use quantile. Here we have cut points which divide the data into 4 parts. Now, basically by drawing the quantile plot, we can easily identify the data that is not there within the range of values that are there. That means, in one of the previous slides we have studied what is outliers. Outliers means those data points which are not within the common range. Basically, if you try to find the mean of all these numbers in the list, then the value 4 will be far beyond the value of mean. So, what is this quantile plot? Yeah, this is the graph that is drawn over here. Don't worry, if possible we will try to draw this graph also. You have studied matplotlib, and using matplotlib and CSV, in fact in the next session we will definitely try to see how we can do this. We have got the CSV file of the rocks and mine database. We have studied matplotlib. So combining both, how we can draw this graph, we'll try to study. But basically what this indicates, this point, probably these 2 points, they are far away from this line. That is why these points that I have circled are basically referred to as outliers. Basically these two are significant outliers, the others are not that significant outliers, but definitely they can be known as an outlier. And remember, this is known as a probability plot. Now, what is a quantile plot? Q quantiles are values that partition a finite set of values into Q subsets of nearly equal sizes. Quantile, remember, is a general term. Specific term is a quartile. That means we are dividing into 4 parts. Decile, that means we are dividing the data into 10 parts. And percentile, that means we are dividing the data into 100 parts. Consider that we have a data set of, say for example, 1000 records. Okay. Now quantile is a general term associated with this. For quartile, I am not good at writing, making use of this pen. We have 4 equal parts, so we'll have 4 sets each of 250 records. Okay, sorry, this is 5, 250 records, then it becomes quartile. If we divide the 1000 records into 10 sets, each set containing 100 records, then it becomes decile. Why decile? Because there are 10 sets. And yes, if we divided it in the reverse way, 100 into 10, then it is percentile. Why? Because we are dividing into 100 parts. So quantile is a general term that is used. The other term that are specific is quartile, decile and percentile. So that is what is shown over here. In probability theory and statistics, a probability distribution is a mathematical function that provides the probabilities of occurrence of different possible outcomes in an experiment. Now here you have studied in probability tossing of a coin, head or tail, there is 1/2 probability. If you throw a dice, then the probability of each number will be 1/6. So that is what is it is trying to explain over here. Now what is a quantile plot or a QQ plot? It is a graphical method for comparing two probability distributions by plotting their quantiles against each other, by plotting their quantiles with each other. Remember, in a graph, any point has 2 points, the x coordinate and the y coordinate. So x coordinate represents the first set, the y coordinates represent the second set. So basically one point will represent the quantile of the first distribution, the other point will represent the quantile of the second distribution. Thus the line is a parametric curve with parameter, which is the number of interval for the quantile. So that is what is shown over here. Yes, definitely one thing that we need to consider is outliers may cause trouble either for model building or prediction. Specifically, either it may be a classification or it may be a regression. The results tend to change significantly if the number of outliers are more. So how can we manage these outliers? let us just go back. Say for example, in this list there is only one point which is an outlier. So what we can do is, if we try to get more number of points which are outliers, then it will sort of balance the data a little bit, and then our classification or prediction uh, problem may not be that much affected by outliers. Okay, fine. So that is one thing that we need to keep in mind. Yes, sometimes the other thing, like what we were doing in missing values, if the number of records with missing values are quite less, then we were ignoring the records in totality. So the same thing we can do over here, in the sense, if the number of records with outliers are very few, then we can exclude those records from the data set and perform the classification or prediction on the remaining part. Uh, so that is what is specified over here. Fine. Now we just try to revise what we have studied in this session. Basically, we are taking one more case study. Last time the case was of uh, which user is spending how much on books, online purchase of books. So we can come to know next time how much they are likely to spend. Now this case or this data set is little bit different. Here the case is about making use of sound waves. We want to determine whether underwater there is a rock or there is a mine. Basically, depending on the reflections coming back, the numerical values that are being returned, uh, you come to know whether there is a rock or mine. We studied what basically is a sample data set. Here 208 records are there, which is considered a small data set as far as machine learning is concerned. Most of the values are numeric except the last one, which is categorical. Again, what we need to determine when doing data analytics, few of the things: the size and shape of the data, and if, as shown, the data is comma delimited, that means separated by comma, it becomes easier to manage the data and we can do the statistics very easily. Yes, the number of rows will have an impact, in the sense the training time will increase. The number of columns, then the complexity also increases. This is what is said. Again, the next thing that we need to identify is the data type of the values that are there in the data set. Always, because most of the times we are trying for quantitative results, more the numerical attributes, more it is better. Yes, one of the terms that we studied is outliers, in the sense, some data points which are outside the general range of the data points. The next thing we studied is the general term quantile and the specific term quartile, percentile and decile. Basically, we are distributing the number of records that we have into equal parts. If we want to divide it into 4 equal parts, it becomes quartile, and as you can see over here, there are 3 cut points over here. Same may be the case for percentile or decile. So that is what is there over here. And finally, yes, any point on the graph will have two coordinates, the x and the y. QQ plot will contain one point of one distribution and the another point of the another distribution. And from the graph we can easily identify what are outliers. Remember, outliers sometimes may be good as far as some experiments are concerned, but most of the times they are going to affect the results of prediction or classification in a negative way. So we should know how to manage the outliers. That is always a good practice. So with this we conclude this session. Next time again we'll continue with something similar, and we'll try to do some practicals as well. Thank you.